Greg, first, thanks for having me. We could not be more excited, to be honest with you. I mean, the Biotechnology Innovation Organization, which is the umbrella group that sponsors the Bio International Convention, is made up of 1,000 companies. So we are an advocacy organization based in Washington, D.C., and we work with chapters all over the United States of America and work with more than 1,000 companies, Greg, 1,000 of our member companies, small companies like Moderna was a company that was in bio, as a matter of fact, who no one had ever heard of until the pandemic. So we are extremely happy, excited, and proud being able to be back in person. And, interestingly enough, Greg, the reason we're going to be back in person at the San Diego Convention Center from June 13th through the 16th is because of our companies. I mean, the reason conventions can happen in person again is because of our companies. This is like an amazing victory lap for science in the United States. It's to be celebrated, and we can now do it and gather in person and be able to maybe pull together and kind of just give each other a hug and look at what science has been able to do, not just for like San Diego and the convention and tourism industry itself, but for the biotech industry, which made tourism and convention, it's really going to give it a boost. So we're really excited about seeing it. And so are other people. We were a little worried, to be frank, about are people going to want to come out? What is going to be the deal with COVID? Are we going to see another variant? What's it going to be? Are people going to be afraid to come out? And we are at historic levels in terms of people saying, yes, I want to come back. Yes, I want to celebrate the industry. Well, we know for a fact we're going to have roughly in the neighborhood of 11,000. However, there's still a couple weeks, and we would still love to see people. I mean, San Diego is a biotechnology hub, and we want to see people to come on out. So you can still register at bio.org. You can check out our international convention space and see all of the many things there are going to be to do in San Diego at the convention center and nearby, neighborhoods and stuff. So we're really fired up about the ability to be able to do this. So I think we're gonna have at least 11,000 people in attendance, and we could have as much as 13,000 if we get a rush toward the end of people wanting to sign up and be part of the really exciting festivities. Yeah, it's a great question. So we have, if you want more details, you can go to bio.org, check out our international convention. There's this health and safety protocol to get all the information. But in a nutshell, we're going to be asking every convention attendee to come in and register, take a test, and make sure that they're badged in. Everyone who will be badged in will have had to have tested negative for the COVID, as well as being vaccinated. So you'll have to do that. Masks at this point are optional because we're going to follow California state law. We will highly encourage that mask use just because, again, it's a big crowd. So we're highly going to encourage it, but it will be optional. And the rest of the health and safety protocols that you'll see will be right there. And also in your goodie bag, you're going to get an additional testing kit so that if a day into the event you want to go ahead and test yourself, you can go ahead and do that as well. Well, first of all, there's lots of different things going on, so many different things, it's hard to tell. Let me give them a couple buckets, right? So first of all, you're going to have dozens of receptions that our companies are having, that Bio is having. There are going to be receptions and parties and networking events. So if you're in the biotech industry, or if you are a investor, there are hundreds, thousands of life science investors who will be on the ground down there. So if you need to talk to investors about how to do that, you're going to have a chance to network with all of the folks in the science industry that are working on the cures and of the future. So there's literally dozens of receptions that are open to the public. The biggest which is going to be on the Midway, which is the USS Midway battleship, that we're going to have a huge party that is going to be a welcoming party. It's probably one of the most well-attended parties there. As a matter of fact, Tom Cruise actually had his one of the Top Gun movie premieres actually had a party on the Midway. So you're going to have a chance to be able to go and do that. So that's outside of kind of the convention. The convention itself is going to be amazing. So Venus Williams, our Grand Slam winner, will be also interviewed by Erin Andrews of ESPN about her career, her life, and her struggle with disease. As you know, she has a disease which can cause migraine headaches, and medical science and the work that's going on in the laboratories in the United States has really allowed her not just to live a great life, but to be a Grand Slam champion and to be a real productive member of society. And so she's going to have some inspiring words about how science has been able to really help her life. That's going to be at one of our sessions. Another session, Greg, is literally going to be out of this world. And we are going to connect with the International Space Station, and we are going to hear from an astronaut on this International Space Station live in a direct feed in the convention hall, talking about biological experiments that are going on in outer space that will have an impact on fighting disease and building a more green universe, as well as helping to feed areas that have food deserts. So we're really excited about that. After that live feed, there's going to be astronauts on the stage talking about the importance of doing these kinds of experiments in outer space. And so that's going to be happening on the stage. In addition, Dr. Michelle McMurray-Heath, who is our CEO and president, who has been a champion of making bio the voice of science for science in Washington, D.C. We are one of the most powerful public affairs and lobbyists, literally working day in and day out to make sure public policy does not get in the way of some of the most amazing scientific breakthroughs. And so we're going to hear her. She has made diversity and equality in the biotech industry one of her calling cards. She's going to be talking about how science is the next social justice frontier with with a really, really well-known author. And so that will also be an exciting piece that we'll be able to see on the stage. Aside from that, we're going to have tens of thousands, that's right, Greg, you heard it, tens of thousands of partnering meetings. What do I mean by that? I mean, investors meeting with scientists presenting what they are hoping to accomplish, and investors investing in that science. Tens of thousands of them. There's nowhere else. It's going to be one of the largest gatherings of investors and science. So Biotechnology Innovation Organization is a matchmaker between these partners. Through our one-on-one partnering application, there'll be thousands of meetings going on just to do that. So that's just a flavor of some of the terrific things that we're going to have going on for the entire week, June 13th through the 16th, San Diego Convention Center. We are so excited to see everybody back in person. Well, first of all, San Diego is one of the most beautiful cities in all of the United States. The weather is perfect, and if you wait around a little bit, it'll get more perfect. And then if you wait around a little bit more, it'll get even more perfect. So it's a beautiful place to be. For biotechnology science, it is also an exploding hub of scientific innovation and experimentation. I mean, it's really where our scientists are rolling up their sleeves and getting to work. there is an interesting dichotomy. I mean, Washington, D.C. likes to talk a lot about science, but in San Diego, Boston, San Francisco, and other of these hubs, they're actually doing the work. And San Diego is such a amazing incubator, and the leaders in San Diego have done such a tremendous job of building up the industry, of making it a top focus. It continues to grow. It is now home to literally hundreds of biotech companies. They're literally working on biotech solutions that are literally going to save the planet and end certain diseases. And it's going on right there. So we're going to be able to be within an earshot of all of these companies who are working on these amazing cures and treatments. Again, even in COVID alone, Greg, 900 cures, treatments, vaccines, and diagnostics were all underway by the companies of bio. And so it's a real opportunity for us to really I'll do a little bit of an end zone dance, to be really honest with you, for the industry about the amazing work that they were able to do. The theme of this year's convention is limitless, because the truth of it is, Greg, science's opportunity, science's promise is limitless as long as we don't limit science. And COVID was a perfect example. Everyone stood out of the way. The government stood out of the way. Everyone said, let's go invent this. And again, 900 treatments, diagnostics, and vaccines were all in various stages of development. It's almost 1,000. So when you take the limits away from science, we have limitless results. That's the theme of our convention this year. And it's something that you're going to hear an awful lot about. And it kind of combines what we do, which is, biotechnology international convention married with kind of bio, which is, our advocacy efforts here in Washington, D.C. It's really a breathtaking time to be in the industry, and I couldn't be more excited about it. And more importantly, seeing everybody in person. You're completely right. And there's several challenges. Greg, you would think that after an industry saved the planet and saved the health of the planet and is working on other solutions to help actually save us from climate change, you would think that the popularity would be high. Unfortunately, there are reputational issues for the industry, and the industry has become a good bit of a political football. And so whether it is giving away our intellectual property, our scientists work hard, the investors invest billions of dollars, you come up with a cure, and now there's a group of political leaders who want to just give that technology away. They just want to give that intellectual property away. That's a dangerous precedent to set, and there are those who are trying to do it. The other thing that we are going to be talking about is investment into science. It's such a critical stage right now where people are a little worried about investing in science. If you invest in science, it's really difficult, Greg. $9 in $10 that are invested in science are invested in our biotech companies fail. Why? Because experiments fail. So that doesn't sound like a great investment, but it is, because the one drug that may make it out is going to be able to make the rest of those investments in failed technologies by and large really, really economically viable for investors. So we have to make sure that we maintain this very delicate ecosystem of how our investments are going to be compensated for after this new technology comes through. So there's a number of public affairs challenges that we're going to be discussing. We need scientists to get involved in our fights because there's a lot of misinformation out there, as there is on a lot of different things. You saw misinformation on vaccines. There's a lot of misinformation out there about how drugs are priced and what the value of a medicine is. No one talks about the value of the medicine. Everyone's just focused on the cost, and the companies don't even set the cost. It's set by middle managers called pharmacy benefit managers who no one's ever heard of. They're the ones who actually set the price that you pay at the drugstore, and Congress isn't doing anything about them. And so we're going to make sure we're reminding people that they really, really need to focus on these things. Yep, it's exactly true. It's one of the things that we're at Bio are most proud of. And I'm not sure I think the last I heard we're at over 20,000 meetings. I mean, think about that, 20,000 meetings. That's some, thousands of scientists sitting down with tens of thousands of investors and saying, here's the molecule. Here's what we think we're going to be able to do. We can't do that without your investment. It's called our unique bio partnering system, and it is amazing on how you're, and how many people will be funded. If you look at cures across the board, many of them started out with a meeting in a hallway at one of the Bio International conventions, and we certainly hope that we're going to have 20 or 30,000 of those meetings this year. That the cure that you're going to hear about 3-4 years from now, hopefully is going to start at one of these such important partnering meetings. Well, there's so many of our companies. Johnson & Johnson, Amgen, just two are huge sponsors. I hate to get into a whole list of them because I'm going to miss somebody, because they're all terrific partners. We have Helix and Double Helix. We think it's really, really important that, that we kind of hit everyone. So if you look at our materials, I think you'll be able to see, all of the great sponsors that have really made this possible. We have a 5K race being sponsored by one of our companies called Travere. I know that. That's on Monday morning. I signed up for it, but I'm not sure if I'm in shape enough for it.